everyone, it's Christina with My Confection Obsession, and today we're going to be making an Avengers cake. So before we get started, I do want to let you guys know that there was a lot of prep work that went into getting to this point. In front of me, you guys can see that I have an 8-inch square cake. So this is a triple layer square cake. It's already been crumb coated. I decided to do the square for this cake because I'm going to divide it into quarters and focus on a different Avenger for each part of the cake. And I'm going to start focusing on covering the top of my cake into the quadrants with the different colors. So what I'm going to be using for all the different pieces of our cake are templates that I already created. For the different quadrants, what I did ahead of time is I actually measured the cake using a measuring tape to get exactly even quarter pieces. Additionally, I also have templates for all the other Avenger logos I'm going to be using. We're going to have Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and Spider-Man. And so it's gonna come together really nicely into a cohesive design. I'm really excited. Okay, so let's get started on our quadrant colors. So now I have my squares laid out on the cake, and I can see that it's not completely perfect, but I'm not worried about it because I'm going to go back in later and pipe some buttercream, like some white to outline to make it look clean. So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to focus here on our red, on our Spider-Man, and I'm going to make some indentations where I want his web to go. So I'm going to use a fondant tool, like a dowel tool, to first make the indentations before I go over it in black. I'm using my Americolor edible marker in black, and I'm going to go ahead and color in the indentations that we just made very carefully. Okay, so I have my web even, and so I'm going to go ahead and focus on a different quadrant now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make our gray look like bricks. So this is where our Hulk fist is going to go, and he's going to be bursting out of it. So before I move on to the other quadrants and keep putting on the details, I am going to place our Captain America shield in the middle because I want to make sure that that is placed in the center, and then however I arrange the rest of the logos, it looks proportionate. color. So I'm going to be using my Wilton dab and hold to adhere the fondant to the fondant. So for this quadrant, I'm going to actually go ahead and put Iron Man. So I'm going to work on cutting out his face. So for all of these colors, I made them using my homemade marshmallow fondant, except for my red and my black, which I decided to buy just because it's a little bit easier. So I will put those links in the show notes. So you're gonna see that for some of these smaller pieces, I switched to using an X-Acto knife. I definitely recommend doing that because it makes it a lot easier just to get those little corners so that it has a smoother edge. So since there was tons of fondant on this, I'm just lightly going over this with a little bit of shortening just to get some of it off so I can see how it looks. Looks a lot better. At the very end, I'm going to go through and clean up the whole thing, but just so you guys can see a little bit better as well. Okay, so I put Iron Man down and I'm actually going to go ahead and add his eyes in a little bit later when my white dries out a little bit. So now I'm going to focus on Hulk's fist, and so I'm just going to go ahead and mold our green. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to be making a fist shape, and it's kind of like going to be half 2D and half 3D, so it's going to be sticking out a little bit. So this is like going to be like the palm of his hand here, or like this part of his hand. Hulk's fist breaking through the bricks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a background like it's exploding. So I'm going to use some gray here. So I'm setting my fist here so that I can place where I want my bricks to be breaking. next is I am going to work on Thor's hammer. So with Thor's hammer, I want it to look like this. So I'm actually gonna let it dry for a little bit so that it's more stable, so that I can put it on the cake, like it's hitting into it. Okay. So we're gonna let this guy dry. And next I'm going to work on Spider-Man's eyes. So I finished Spider-Man's eyes, so I'm gonna go ahead and place them on our cake. Next, I'm going to add a few bricks coming out of the wall so this looks a little bit more realistic. Actually, I'm going to cut some of these bricks into like triangles, like they're broken. Gives it a little bit of dimension. Looks really nice. Okay. I do have my star cut out, so I'm going to go ahead and place that on as well. Would you believe that the star was the hardest thing to cut out of all? I think I had to cut this thing out like 17 times. And I still don't think it looks quite perfect, but it looks good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place it, and I'm gonna end up drawing like cracks, like it's breaking through. So I'm gonna go ahead and pipe just a little bit of white buttercream along the lines here just to even this out and make it look a little bit cleaner. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna pipe some buttercream on the sides to finish the cake. Okay guys, so our Avengers cake is complete and it actually turned out even better than I expected. And I hope you enjoyed this very long tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel below.